We are live. Now, before I proceed, I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping, make sure that everything's working okay. All right, so the sound, the audio, that's good. That's great. Now, my intention here is to have Banto co-host this show with me, so let's see if I can find him, all right? This is Banto. And Jeff Keller as well, I believe. So
Hi, Sid.
There is Banto right there.
Oh, we live? Shoot, I gotta go clean myself up. I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah, you do that. All right. So it looks like Banto wasn't expecting a live hangout on air to be a live hangout on air. So we'll let him go and take care of his appearance. It's the 14th of May, 2016, in the early evening, and I just watched a debate. I think it was a debate, I'm not quite sure, between Lyrical Orion and Veckel regarding the Trinity. I think that Veckel got a little schooling that he didn't know was coming. But at least he went away vowing somehow to catch up on his reading and stuff. It was a silly debate anyway. I mean, the Trinity is kind of a dumb. Even the Unitary, even that's all stupid. So to go and start arguing about a Trinity or a duality or a fucking who knows what-ity makes me angry, piss me off. Hey, why you piss me off, huh? Right, so I'm going to put the join link in some way here.
Hi, Sid.
Hey, I'm just going to put the join link so if people want to
Public.
join in, you know what I mean?
I gotta click my camera. Okay, so Bible study on a Saturday night. Pretty intriguing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Golly, that camera ain't working.
How come you're so blurry today? Are you not feeling well?
Because the camera.
Oh, you're not feeling well, Bunty? Did you have too much to drink last night? You're looking all blurry.
I do not drink. Okay, listen. So what was your take on the whole talking about the validity of the Trinity thing?
Oh, fuck. That was the most boring fucking...
Okay. Even though it was like boring, I mean, what was your takeaway from it?
I love Lyrical's voice. It soothes me.
Yeah, she's a nice... why don't these people get on camera? We'd like to see them. I haven't ever seen Veckel on cam.
I've seen Veckel on cam.
Oh, really?
I've seen Veckel. Yes, I think I've seen a video with Veckel and D-Man sort of prowling around the streets of New Busy City.
Okay.
Because I think Veckel's from I'm not sure, but I could be wrong, but I think Veckel's from a small town. G-Man's from a big town, and he was kind of doing the preaching thing in the street, showing him around and videotaping it. I might have been dreaming, so don't quote me.
Okay, so people
not to be quoted.
Really care in the 21st century if the Trinity is logical?
No, it's a stupid discussion to have.
Yet they're having it on a Saturday night, mind you.
I know. Look. It's only, what are we now? The 9th century. By the time the 21st century comes around, I'm sure they'll have forgotten about Christianity long ago.
only hope.
Right.
All right. Who do you think won the debate? Was it a
Lyrical,
debate?
it wasn't a debate. It was lyrical schooling. Veckel on one way or the other on the Trinity. Why it doesn't make sense, or why it makes no sense, or why it does make. I'm not even too sure. I wasn't really listening that close, but because it's just such nonsense. I start off with the premise and the axiom: God is imaginary. From that point on, so is everything else. So fuck it.
Okay. Could you like really get into the hobby of Christianity and Judaism like
No,
Beckel has?
I think I could get into the hobby of Islam.
All right, so you could actually study the Quran to know the pointers on it.
Well, I just would like to study the Quran, learn how to treat women and treat my wife, and how to educate my children, how to wipe my ass.
Right.
You know, it would be nice to
Blow
have
thyself up.
absolutely everything there told how to do it. Awesome. Never have to make a choice ever.
All right. Okay.
Don't you think that's awesome?
A lot of people watch that hangout because there's nothing else to do in their lives on Saturday night.
Look, a lot of people on this planet live in Brazil. On Brazil, you can't go out. It's lawless.
Yeah, can't go out. So
And Venezuela, you can't go out there.
might as well just
Might as well just come to hang
talk
out.
about the Trinity, right?
Exactly.
Okay, what else? I guess. Okay, what did you name the hangout? I didn't catch it.
I forget. Oh, I named it Discussion: Women and Men as Sex Objects.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for more people to come in and we'll figure out what's going on.
I first titled it "Women as Sex Objects,"
And then you felt like, hey, equal opportunity.
and then I said, "Why not just humans?"
Humans as sex objects.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that carries over
differentiate between
children.
women and men.
When you say women and men, so that means adults. So can't say
Yes.
humans.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah. Well,
so-
I didn't say human. I said women and men. I mean, I wrote down women and men.
All right, so yeah, there's a whole thing there. I don't know. Well, yeah, let me ask Kiz if he wants to come to hang out.
Only if his name is Kizun.
Zoom. Yo.
Does Ermine come to most of your hangouts?
Not. I haven't had one by myself in a while, but once in a while she comes. She really doesn't. I would say like maybe 10% or 15%. I invited her to this one. We'll see. All right. How about? I'm just clicking on people just to see if they'll come.
Yeah, I see what you're doing.
Shamos even.
I haven't seen Seamus around since
He's too good for us.
he left the internet and then came back and then left again.
Okay, were you at that Nate Cunningham hangout earlier where he was going over the racist episode? All right, what was your take on that?
About Psycho Atheist?
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think the guy's off his rocker.
Why do you think he's off his rocker?
Because he had no idea what he was ranting about.
Well, he was upset because St. Tommy said heretical N-word.
No. I was in that hangout actually, and
Okay.
so I read the side chat. What happened? Was it Veckel who called him? Yeah, Veckel. Well, somebody called St. Tommy a heretic.
Right.
Which to me, so what? It's a heretic. It's like Rand Campbell calling you a reprobate, or
Right.
or Shani sending you to Satan, or whatever, right?
Right.
So somebody calls St. Tommy a heretic. And St. Tommy fucking inside, he hit the roof.
Right.
Because calling St. Tommy a heretic is to St. Tommy analogous to a black man being called a nigger.
Okay, so it has that same effect.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what happened?
And so Tommy replied, if I were to call you a heretical
N-word.
nigger,
All right.
which would be more insulting, heretic or nigger?
Okay, so it was a question.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It was like a mountain out of a molehill.
Oh, let me invite Sugar.
An absolute mountain out of a molehill. You know,
And then what happened?
the drama that's on this fucking internet is beautiful. Thanks, everybody, for providing it.
Okay, so the guy really went off the chart, man. And well, what did you think about? Do you think there was any resolution there, or do you think he's going to be a factor in the?
You know, I personally had never ever seen the guy before.
I've never seen it before. Psycho. And he said something like, "I'm the only black atheist." And then I thought,
It's so untrue.
He is the only black. Well, who's the other black atheist?
So untrue. There's lots of black atheists.
Where here?
There's Dragnot. There's the beautiful reality. There's
Joseph.
Joseph. That's who I'm thinking of. Joseph.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I guess you're right. Black. There's Afro-American, but not like ghetto.
Wolf King. I mean,
you're right.
Lots.
Keepies is a Christian. Oh yeah, okay. So we should have corrected him. My mind was a total freaking blank.
There's William J. Jackson, who puts out regular content on secular TV.
Oh really? You should have him on a show, dude.
He might have a life. He's actually. I watched his show yesterday. And he doesn't go on for very long, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. Mm-hmm. But he's funny. He's fucking funny. You should watch him. Okay,
so that happened today, and then Nate is like coming back into the community.
Nate's coming back to G+, it looks like.
But he's not with Roy Montero.
I haven't seen Roy on G+ in a coon's age.
Right, Mr. Racist. Anyway, so like Nate Cunningham wants to be his own entity now. He doesn't want any wingman.
I don't know if Nate Cunningham has any plans whatsoever.
He's full Trump mode, and he's against social justice warrior. Maybe you could team up with Kiz, man.
He's social justice?
Yeah, remember now he's against social justice warriors.
I don't even know what a social justice warrior really is.
Well, when Kiz comes in here, we'll ask him. All right,
maybe I don't agree.
Okay.
Or maybe I am one. I don't know.
All right, and then Rancam said he agreed to an interview tentatively for next week, so I have to do what's going on with Rancam.
On your show?
On the dogfight, yeah, I have one in a long time.
On Bunto Silent Dogfight?
Right.
Beautiful.
So, and then, he's like Mr. Anti-LGBT, so we'll see what, happens.
I've had a couple of hangouts with Rand the last 2-3 days.
Oh yeah, okay, so he's coming back.
Well, he's just come back to hang out, that's all.
All right, and
also to preach Christianity.
All right. And you've been hanging around with Nadia?
No.
I saw her, man, in that clip that Nate was playing.
Yeah? She never said anything.
She didn't say shit. Hey, Pyong.
Hey, how you doing? I said.
Welcome to Saturday the 14th. And, of course, Jeff Keller. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Oh, big JK.
Welcome, Pyong. Welcome,
hey.
Jeff. Oh, my God.
Great to see all of you.
Happy Saturday the 14th.
Indeed.
Ron Paul 2016.
Right. Okay, listen. Okay, we did politics last week, so we're going to try to. We will. I guess we could come back to it, but Sid entitled the show something about. What did you say? Sexual objects, Sid.
Men and women as sex objects.
Delightful.
So he's
Actually,
equal
women and men as sex objects because I'm chivalrous and polite.
equal opportunity.
Cool.
Jeff Keller
Okay.
is the perfect guest.
Jeff, have you ever felt like a sex object at work?
At work?
Right.
Mhm.
Harassment.
No, not at work.
Like your
Are
boss
you- are
asked
you-
you to wear the tight pants.
Are you disappointed?
Probably a little bit.
Okay.
I'd treat you like a sex object, Jeff.
Yes.
I mean, if your boss asks you to wear, certain clothes, isn't that an actionable case, Pyong? You
Right.
know,
Wear something
with
that's
the
easy
tight
to get
pants.
out of.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yeah,
I
it
can
is.
see Pyong asking Jeff to
Anybody
wear
knows that one.
those sort of
Yeah,
short
Yeah, Jeff,
round-
wear something easy to get out of.
short round
That frilly pink tank top job you wear.
Right. and talk liberty the whole time.
Talk liberty.
Talk liberty to me.
Loud and long. Okay, listen. There's not very many cases of male sexual harassment, right, Pyong? There's more of the.
I don't know. I've never done any of that stuff. I've heard about it though. Like I did some continuing legal education on sexual harassment in the office. You know,
I think it
office
happens.
workplace.
I,
Sure.
I know of cases.
Do
where the
tell.
male was singled out.
How did that work out? That one you know of, or those cases you know of?
Usually it was like an older woman, and
A cougar.
yeah, a cougar and
Nomenclature.
unwanted advancements. There was no attraction. There was no
Alcohol?
response. No alcohol, as far as I know.
But isn't that like an incredibly hard case to prove? I mean,
Well,
I
they're
know.
all hard cases. The courts generally favor the female
yes, the female.
Because
claims.
the female are sex
Yeah,
objects.
yeah. It would be extremely hard for a male to make that claim. But I do know of one case where a few years back, I don't want to get into specifics, where I know of a male who was in that situation, didn't want to be in that situation, and it wasn't good for him. But yeah, it'd
So-
be very, very hard for him to prove that.
He reported it to, to what
I don't
authority?
know. I don't know to what extent he reported it.
Okay, just curious, Pyong, if you report a case of sexual harassment directly to, the state or federal commission rather than going to your own HRC, do they look askance to that? Like, would they
No.
ask you, why didn't you ask your own human resource department?
Oh no. No, I don't think so. I mean,
Right.
your company might not like it much.
Right.
But- But yeah, more than likely you would go first just to an attorney, and you'd sit down with the attorney, and then you'd talk about, and like Jeff said, it's an evidentiary problem. You're going to have
Right.
evidentiary problem. You're not going to go with something he said, she said, but
Definitely.
like if you have some sexting posts, or some chat or so, messages, you know what I mean? You might be able to make something about that.
Could you ever appeal a sexual harassment case that didn't go in your favor? Like
Depends.
Okay.
It depends. I mean, like in Illinois, for example, if you have any case and you have an issue, what they call an issue perfected, you can appeal that, if there's a question of law. But appellate courts typically defer to the initial trial court for determination of fact, so it's usually a question of did the trial court apply the law improperly or something like that. But it's been known to occur.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. But you have to, and it depends on the jurisdiction, of course.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with the federal procedure.
When we look at our system, our justice system, we see people that aren't indicted. Like the policeman is rarely indicted for wrongdoing. I mean, how can I say it? For egregious acts. It's hard for the grand jury seldom indicts an officer in a shooting.
Well, not all jurisdictions have grand juries.
Okay.
So sometimes it's entirely up to the prosecutor, and yeah, it's a question of, is this a proper use of the
Force.
prosecution's time? How likely are they to succeed on the merits? You might have a video cam of like this happened to me where a cop was right on my bumper trying to encourage me to speed, obviously something bad. What is it worth the prosecutor's time to mess with that? I don't know. But I think it mostly boils down to, will they get a conviction? Because that's always, to my understanding, number one. Prosecutors always want to keep their conviction rate high.
Right.
So, but they're going to look at, can they succeed on the merits, and then is it worth their time, I guess.
And also, the other thing I was going to bring up is, like, it seems to me on these, death row cases where they always, like, try to see if the lawyer made a mistake, right?
Yeah.
So that always happens.
Yeah, that's a corpus. Yeah, they those are mandatory in death sentences. They always go through and they make checks and go through.
Would there be
everything.
any use to the defense actually on purpose making a mistake just so they could
Pardon me?
For
the defense making a mistake?
Actually, well, okay. The reason that they want to, delay the execution is, find some sort of mistake in there. That's what I'm trying to say. Is there any point to purposely making a mistake?
Oh, geez, probably not. No, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times what'll happen.
I think what he means maybe is there any way for there to be a technical error somehow stuck in there?
Oh, sure. When they're going through habeas corpus, they've got two habeas corpuses. It means writ over the body. So if they go in there and they're going to issue a warrant against you, where they're going to take you in, that's habeas corpus, But also, when they're going to kill somebody, they pursue this, and they call that habeas corpus as well. So a lot of times what will happen is the defense team will change during the appellate procedures.
Yes.
And they'll say that the previous defense was incompetent, or something prevented them from having a proper defense.
Right.
See what I mean? And that's an error. But yeah, I don't think that any defense team would intentionally create an error. I mean,
technicality, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure though. I mean, I'm sure there are rules against that, and you probably get disbarred for doing something like that. I don't know.
Right.
So Pyong, I'm sorry, what's your real name? Eric?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's your address?
Eric,
Hi, Sugar.
yeah. What are your GPS coordinates?
666.
No. So what I've heard is the case is that people often say, well, you have the death penalty, so you don't have to pay for somebody to be in prison for X number of years. But in fact, with all of these appellate things that go on, it's actually way more costly to the taxpayer to have people on death row. Is that correct or not?
Jeff, I don't know. My personal experience, I'm not a criminal defense attorney, and I've never been a prosecutor, and I've never actually done the research to see. I've heard that before. I've heard that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, is that really true, though? If somebody were on death row for 5 years, say, and then, or you say they're 21 when you put them in for life, and they live to be 85. I mean, I don't know. But the
40 grand a year or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. Could be, yeah. But my personal feeling about being anti-death penalty, and that's an economic argument against
right, the economic argument.
Well, among other arguments, it's not just an economic argument, but
yeah, forgive me. I mean, what I heard from you, there's probably something else in there, but what I heard from you was about cost.
Yes, that is the economic argument. That's not my only argument, but yes, that's what I was talking about.
My objection to it is that I know that our criminal justice system is far from perfect.
Yeah.
And
that's my argument too.
Once you juice them up, give them the injection connection, whatever, ride the lightning, however you want to go, they're gone. There's no coming back from that. At least
there's no appeals, nothing.
Right. If they're sitting in the pokey and they're somehow exonerated, at least we can correct that misfortune.
But we also have this situation too, Pyong, where there's a guy who says, "Yeah, I did it. I killed that person," and then they drag this thing out, appeal and appeal, and it's sort of like the dude says he did it.
Right.
He wants to die. Why are you guys dragging this out? See?
Yeah, that's true. And look at like a modern example, not exactly like that, but with the Colorado shooter, the theater shooter. I mean, this there's no question the guy did it,
Right.
And then they go through this process, and they have some, I don't know, I do not think highly of this juror, but they go to the sentencing portion, and the person says, "Oh, I don't believe in the death penalty. I just can't go with this," and boom, life imprisonment.
Right.
No,
But the question is that's always presented as being such a terrible thing, but is that even less? It sounds like, from what I've heard, that it actually is more costly to put somebody on death row with all of these appellate processes. So it's not a, strictly speaking, a money-saving thing to put somebody in life in prison, as many would like you to believe.
Well, the argument is that's humane. Life imprisonment. It's more humane than the death penalty.
Yeah, and I think that was probably this juror's position. But I have two things about that. First of all, when they say it costs a lot of money, those state's attorneys and all that stuff, whoever is doing the work on those appellate cases, they're going to be doing something anyway. It's not like they're paying them anyway, so they're getting their salary. I doubt very seriously they're going to add people just for something like that, although they might. But the other thing is there is an additional cost to society, and that is when you have a monster and it's a monster and there's no question that
the guy's going to kill.
Right. This, how many people did this nut job kill? What happens is, for all of those victims, it undermines the rule of law. For all of the people who watched that case, it undermines the rule of law. You have criminals who are like, yeah, fuck it. You know what I mean? Because this guy got away with something, and that's bad. I don't like that at all.
True.
I got something to say about this.
I just want to say real quickly, when DNA was introduced, it actually exonerated most everybody who was on the death was in the death penalty realm in Illinois, and the governor pardoned everybody because the DNA evidence showed that these people were railroaded. So it's not just about we're putting these monsters away, but the state was utterly incompetent in terms of they accepted eyewitness testimony, which we found is not reliable at all, or is very it's not conclusive. It may be somewhat reliable, but it's not conclusive.
Well, Jeff, I don't think it exonerated everybody. I just think there was some question.
Because there was enough of a question. No, it didn't mean that everybody was innocent.
What he said was close.
Right.
What he said was close enough because the governor put a moratorium on the death penalty. So, but yes, and it did exonerate a lot of people. But yes, Jeff, but in those cases, there was some question, and the jury was persuaded. Okay. But when I say monsters, what I mean is there are some cases like John Wayne Gacy, another fellow from Illinois,
right.
proud Illinoisian, or whatever the
clown,
fuck.
Man.
Oh, sure, yes.
Where there was no question he did it. The theater shooter's another example. No question they did it, and
McVeigh.
McVeigh, right. And so, yeah, that's what I'm talking about with monsters. But yeah, you're right, DNA evidence. However, there is some backlash now where people are kind of doing a 180 because there was a lot, the DNA evidence wasn't really specific, but it did create doubt, and that's really what the defense is attempting to do, create doubt. And they think that I have read articles, I should say, that some people who were exonerated in Illinois and elsewhere should maybe not have been. So, just
Fair
to
enough.
put that in.
Well, yeah,
What's wrong
but
with
there was
retrying it? Is that
enough of
double
a
jeopardy?
doubt presented. Yes, surely maybe some of them did it, but it put a really powerful degree of doubt that innocent people, and the principle has always been we'd rather have 12 guilty people walk than one innocent people to
Really?
be executed. That's always been what I've heard. 12 to 1 is, I don't know who came up with that axiom, but yeah, I mean, and you know, I don't trust the state. I don't trust the state to. I don't want to empower the state to kill people for any reason.
You can understand, like, for example, let's say a person killed somebody. You know, they got the evidence, and then the evidence was mishandled at the lab, right, Pyong? And then that was enough cause for him to get off. I mean, it's like, this guy did the crime, but now he's going to get off because of somebody else's mistakes. You know what I mean?
That in legal tradition, that is said, you know, we'd rather a guilty person get off than an innocent people be tried. That has been the standard of our legal tradition, as far as I can tell. Has anybody else not heard of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a poetic flourish for sure. I don't know how if you really.
Hopefully it's more than a poetic flourish.
Well, that's my point. If you really get into it, I don't know that it actually functions that way.
Yes.
I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it's very dysfunctional.
But it's impractical too, Pyong.
I think Sugar had some
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Sugar.
You know, I find this interesting because we're talking about money and things like that after the fact, right? But what happens before? I mean, if you take a look at Gacy, you know, and the way his early childhood, right? Drunken father, beat him with a razor strap if he even thought they were misbehaving. Physically assaulted the mother. Really, really crappy childhood, right? Like Texas, for example, Bunto, your state, will fight like hell to make sure that every baby is born, right? I mean, for God's sakes, your governor or whatever wanted women to carry babies that were dead in utero. I mean, he had to be told, no, that's dangerous for the woman, right? So you guys have killed more people. And so what they're going to do is they want that person alive, right? So they can be raised by people who weren't ready to have children or didn't want to have children, and they end up being drunk and beat their kids. They want them alive long enough so when they go sideways because society fails them, then they can kill them, right? Then they'll bring out the newspaper and they'll go and interview the mother and say what went wrong, and she's just a shattered woman because of course she never wanted to have a child anyways, but she was forced into it, and they'll just they'll let this whole thing go on, and it'll be a big deal, and these same people who fought to make sure that baby would be born are now fighting to make sure that person dies to pay for their crimes. And who goes home at the end of the night? The executioner. But he's just murdered himself. So I mean, it's a bigger issue. I mean, we could talk about money and DNA all you want, but until we can fix what the hell's wrong with society, why bother? Pay for it.
All right.
Who cares, right?
No, you said that Gacy's father beat him or beat the mother, right?
Both, yeah.
Okay, but I mean, there's other fathers that beat the kid and beat the mother, and the kid didn't kill,
Sure, but that's luck of the draw. That's luck of the draw, right? It's a certain personality. Certainly, we know that there are sociopaths and psychopaths that walk around and live in society every day that aren't killers. But you take somebody like Dahmer, right, who has a sociopathic personality to begin with, and you abuse him as a child, and you turn him into a killer. I mean,
okay, so the object is not to abuse the sociopath as a child, right?
Well, the object is to have some respect for life, right? And
that's hard to do.
I know it is, but unfortunately, things like religion and stuff have clearly gotten in the way. I mean, as a society, we don't value anything because we don't value ourselves.
All right.
You know?
So,
I don't
Pyong, what do
know.
you say? It's society's fault?
Mm-hmm.
With what?
No, I don't know what he
No,
says.
no, no. I don't. I don't think.
Whatever,
it's society.
counselor.
Well,
No,
I mean,
I don't know as far as society's fault. I hear what I hear what Sugar's saying, but yeah, it's just I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, how does Texas rectify it, right? How do you work so hard to make sure all the babies are born, but then have no problem killing them over, you know what I mean?
that's a good
Well,
point. The thing is that
I
there's a difference between like wanting a baby born and then like killing people. Wouldn't you say?
Really?
Pyong? I mean, as far as
if I might.
the guy was like a Dahmer. I think what happened with Dahmer was like he'd get drunk and he'd drug some dude and kill him ritualistically or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
Dahmer was a sick puppy all the way.
I mean,
Go
to
ahead,
me, I think the best way to think about these things is to be a methodological individualist. So if you
Sure.
we want to talk about Dahmer. We talk about what Dahmer did, not what
Right.
society, what all the society constraints were. That's maybe a topic for discussion. But in terms of discussing what he did and if he was proven of having done those things, it's on him. He made those choices. He was a moral agent, a sovereign being. He chose to do those things for whatever reason, and that's
Yeah.
probably
don't
the
have
big
it.
question.
We don't have any responsibility. We don't have any responsibility to make sure that there are laws
I'm not responsible for what
that.
Jeffrey Dahmer did.
No,
I
no,
agree
no.
with Jeff.
But okay, you can agree with Jeff all you want, but the fact is we are role models and we are here to be here for each other. I mean, if we're not going to be theists and God didn't put us here, then why are we here? We're here
Okay.
to support each
Why
other
does
and
there
create
have to
a
be a
nice, healthy,
Why does there have to be
society.
a reason for us to be here?
There's a reason.
Who has nothing to do with me or you, I would say. This is what these were choices that he made, and it's just not anything that I want to claim responsibility for, and I don't think you should either. But if you want to, that's fine.
I just wonder how much we're willing to continue to focus our energy on things that are not that don't build a stronger society. When we keep focusing
Aggressive.
outside of ourselves, I mean, what do we expect, right? I mean, you say, "Oh, I don't want my hands dirty." I've just voted for everything that is so materialistic and it doesn't have anything to do with keeping somebody at home to raise children so they don't go sideways or reduces that fact.
How could you have prevented the Dahmer murders?
Well, you can't prevent them, but you can take a look at them and go, okay, we see his childhood. Then you'd have to look at his father and say, okay, well, where did he come from? I mean, you figure after the Civil War, you had 200,000 men that were sent home opiate addicts, right? I mean, you talk about those people getting married. No, but think about it. Year after year, they get married, and then they have a dysfunctional family, and those children will then go off and find dysfunctional people, and so on and so forth. We keep handing this shit down from generation to generation, and nobody wants to make it stop.
Well, why are you blaming society for
Because we are society. That's what we are. We're all
Yeah,
responsible to each
but-
other.
Okay, I have to go over and tell my neighbor how to raise his kids?
Nope.
So
Sorry.
I agree with you, Sugar, that
Get
our
off the opium, kid.
society could be healthier, and that maybe, and if it was, there would be fewer cases of this. But I think when you decide to give that as a blank check to other people to say, okay, well, our society isn't quite what it should be, therefore, what you did was not your fault. It was it was just because society isn't exactly the way we think it should be. That's
You
that's
think that's
that's
what you think that's what I'm saying?
well, I think it's an implication of what you're saying. I don't think you said it directly, but I think when you say, well, the Jeffrey Dahmer thing, there should be these mitigating circumstances, and yes, none of us live in a perfect society, but we still can make decisions. I can make a decision not to eat my the people that come over to my house.
Just so you know, I don't advocate. I don't
even though I don't think
advocate.
society is quite perfect, I can still kind of say that's not a good idea.
Come on, gentlemen. I know you can ask questions and not assume that I think that people like
No,
Jeffrey
I
Dahmer
don't
should
assume
go
you
free.
think that,
But
go
the
ahead.
thing is that, okay, when you first heard of Jeffrey Dahmer, you blamed society, Sugar, or did you just say
At that
this guy was
time,
a-
no, how could I? I didn't know enough about anything
Right.
at that point. I mean, no. It's just been as I've learned more about, as I've gotten older and learned more about society.
Like, for example,
and,
Pyong, the cop kills the unarmed, the totally naked black kid. I blame police training. Is that wrong? Or should I blame the cop?
I don't know. Did the totally naked black kid have a knife?
No, the
police
totally
didn't train
naked
people
black
not
kid
to
came out of
murder.
nowhere, and the guy just, reflexively killed him.
Oh, I
Really?
don't know. Are you talking about something
Naked kid.
specific, Monto? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
here in Austin, that we had that killing. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but yeah, there was an unarmed, naked black kid who came out of the corner of the cop's eye, and the cop wheeled around and blew him away.
Yeah,
Sounds
totally.
horrible.
Yeah, that's bad. Well, my position on that. I think that we should have. I mean, if Black Lives Matter does anything pragmatic, I think what they should do is try to make a law enforcement officer's level of culpability equivalent to that of an ordinary citizen.
For
That's
starters.
right.
It
That's
should
one thing that they
apply
should
to
do.
all races.
Right. Well, yeah. No matter the race, yeah.
Okay,
And then
people are really-
obviously no more
Are you guys
military
sure?
training for them.
Coming after Black Lives Matter because it's too black orientated. Have you guys noticed that? They're saying
What?
all lives matter. They're like saying that Black Lives Matter is not right because it singles out black lives instead of everybody's life.
It does. There have been lots of people, lots of whites as well, killed by cops, death by
But the
cops.
predominance is African Americans, isn't it?
Oh no! I think you're just
Yeah.
stirring shit up right now, but
No, isn't it? I mean, that's
oh god, no.
okay. If
I mean,
I'm stirring
there's-
shit up, why did Black Lives Matter even
No,
start?
you're
Because
you're
it's an echo chamber.
No, you're right. You're right, but it's because it's because of the demographics more so that I think than it is with prejudice. It's just that it happens that certain ethnicities are in lower economic groups and more concentrated areas where it's more
Crime
conducive
is.
to police brutality than people who commit these so-called crimes in higher class areas, and it does tend to concentrate towards various ethnic groups because of demographics. But I don't think it's as racially motivated, and I think it's misguided to think it's just about race. It's about police brutality in general. It's not about race, even though it's going to affect some racial groups more so than others, just because they're in these areas where it's easier to do these things, where there's more crime.
Yeah, I think it's a social media interest group, and to say, Bunto, your assertion that social media interest groups lend credibility to the claims that they manifest. I mean, look at fucking bronies, dude. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
well, let me think about this. All right. You're saying that there's not a preponderance of black youth being shot over everybody else?
Oh no,
Oh,
I'm not
that's-
saying that. No.
Are you talking to Jeffrey?
No, I'm talking to you.
Talking to sexy Jeff Keller?
No, I'm talking to Pyong, who
Sexy
said
Jeff.
that Black Lives Matter is a social media creation.
Interest group,
It
yeah.
is. It is, but the thing is that it's not like out of a vacuum. There have been a lot of black youths been shot ever since Trayvon Martin.
Right.
Yeah, but these are discrete incidents, right? And
Sure.
and each of the discrete incidents should be taken and evaluated.
On its own merit.
You guys got to see this new. I got a
But it's-
article from Politico. I got to show you guys. Go ahead, Jeff.
It's also a lower income
Phenomena.
phenomena in which, for various other reasons, happens to be predominantly black or minority, but it doesn't. So my only beef with it, I really have no problems with the claim itself, but I think strictly speaking, it has to do with neighborhoods where there's a high concentration of crime and stuff, which do tend to skew towards blacks and minorities, and that's why where those things happen, where there's not a concentration of crime and stuff like that, these things tend not to happen. But it's not. I don't think it's just because of racial prejudice. I think it's just because that's where
training. Yeah. Okay.
So,
that's where. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Do you see what I put up in the side chat from the Washington Post, April of 2015, stating that an analysis released last week from that April of 2015 shows that more white people died at the hands of law enforcement than any other race in the last
Washington Times,
2 years.
huh?
I'm sorry, Washington Times. My mistake. Washington Times.
Publication.
Well, don't discredit the source. Speak to the issues. The Washington Times is actually a pretty fine newspaper. It's right leaning, but it's actually pretty reliable, credible.
I don't
source.
trust any major media anymore. Ever since
I don't know.
I don't either. But question it on its merits rather than. The source.
But you know, I mean, you look at the 2015. By the second month of 2015, we had the American police departments had killed more people than had been shot or that had been killed by police in the UK in 100 years, I think it was. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but in fairness, the UK is a homogeneous place as far as everybody's pretty much, notwithstanding recent emigrations, but everybody's of the same ethnicity, and everybody thinks the UK is great. I find people.
Therein lies the problem, though, right? That we're killing black lives and white lives instead of just killing lives. I mean, why is it that we have to keep putting color in or race into it or religion?
Yeah, it shouldn't be about it. You know, if an innocent life is taken, that should stand in and of itself, and it should not be an issue. I agree.
Well, but now the fact that the Black Lives Matter hashtag exists, I think, and that's the article that I posted over there, could be having an effect on actual violence in some cities. This James Comey, who's head of the FBI, he gave a speech, and he said in it, I'll just quote this because some people might not be able to see the side chat. He says, "I was very worried about it last fall, and I am in many ways more worried," Comey told reporters during a question and answer session at FBI headquarters Wednesday. "The numbers are not only going up, they're continuing to go up faster than they were going up last year, and I worry very much it's a problem that most of America can drive around. I don't know what the answer is, but holy cow, do we have a problem." What he was talking about was a big spike in the number of murders in black neighborhoods, in inner city neighborhoods, black on black crime.
Yes.
And in the article, one of the things that he proposes, or doesn't postulate, pardon me, but maybe hypothesizes is a better term. He says that it could be that, and I'll quote him again, "What I'm talking about is a sort of the viral video effect. Changes in the way police may be acting and in the way communities may be acting in terms of how much information they share with police could well be at the heart of this or could well be an important factor in this." He goes on to say, "I think it is the potential effect of marginal pullbacks by lots and lots of police officers that is changing some cities." Now, when I read that, I thought, wow, you know, what that says to me is this Black Lives Matter, if you look at it, if you make the assumption that Black Lives Matter is like a social media interest group that has created an echo chamber, and they're complaining and they're suing and, you know, they're blah blah this and that, okay, despite the veracity of any of their claims, all right, if police see that and they're like, oh, we're not going to have a Freddie Gray situation on our hands, we're just going to get out of that neighborhood. You see what I mean?
But
I'm not saying Bunto, but that's what the director of the FBI is talking about.
I would say, look, okay, fine, the viral video effect. What was there before Black Lives Matter? You had Freddie Gray. You had, you know.
You had a You had a situation where these things came and went. I mean, come on. Even the Rodney King riots eventually ended. You know.
Yeah, but still.
You get into the Black Lives Matter hashtag, you'll still see Michael Brown shit. You'll still see Ferguson stuff. Okay.
Right.
After they tried to they took it to a grand jury, and the grand jury said no indictment, nothing. There's nothing there, and you'll still see it because it's an echo chamber. They've got a baked-in audience. If you're pissed off about white cops, you can go in there and you can start complaining, and you can make something up. And the veracity of your claim is less important than the attention that it garners.
Well, I will say this. I know it, the way I'm looking at it, that one side is not completely right and the other side is wrong. I know that there's some culpability on either side.
Right, and also, like, black on black violence is a huge problem. It's not.
Yes.
There's certainly not a white on black.
To me, guns are a huge problem.
Let me. So what Pyong's saying is really right on. And if you've ever,
yeah, I think so too.
if you can put yourself in an ambulance or in a police car or in a fire engine or any of these first responders that are going to go out on these crimes, when we know that there's been news activity like that or any kind of activity where there's a problem and the cops are doing this or that, let me tell you, when you roll up to a neighborhood, they come out, the neighbors come out by the hundreds, and they want to watch, and they start yelling at each other.
I think Oatmeal, Texas population, 150 people, has a SWAT team. I mean, probably my Leander High School has a SWAT team. Cops are armed to the eyeballs with military-grade weapons. They can go into the neighborhood and stop.
Okay, Bunto. I'm sorry. You're right. What do I know? 25 years in the ghetto.
The militarization
I don't know
of the
anything.
police force is a big problem.
Right. I mean, these guys say, I'm scared to go in there. Well, you have the freaking tank guy.
No, but see, the thing is, if you had to pull out the tank every time, do you know how many...
Let him pull out the tank every time of it.
What I'm telling you is, I could go out on 6 GSWs, 6 shootings, and maybe I would hear about one in the news, right? When I got home the next day. So not everything is a big deal. I mean, it gets to be like taking a crap some days. I mean, in some areas, shootings are coming in by the hour. I mean, what do you want them to do? Call high alert every time? It just doesn't happen that way in the real world.
If we have a problem, I want it to come to the citizenry attention that we have to solve this problem between the police and the worst neighborhoods.
But that's my fundamental criticism with this Black Lives Matter hashtag. Sure. What has it solved? And in this case, if what Comey is saying is right, that police are pulling back because they're disturbed by this Black Lives Matter hashtag, or that black citizens now, if they're involved in Black Lives Matter hashtag, they think, oh, Whitey gonna kill black people, you know what I mean? So don't trust white cops. That's destructive.
Sure.
That's not like bringing it to the attention of the citizenry. I mean, implied in what you said is to come up with a solution.
Okay.
And I agree with what you said about the SWAT team. I think it's ridiculous that so many police departments have SWAT teams and that they get the military training and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. But I'm asking, what pragmatic steps are Black Lives Matter actually moving toward to do something about it? I don't see it.
True. Okay. At this point, right? But I know at one time they thought like the Freedom Riders going to the South was a silly thing to do. I mean, at one point, each civil, rights thing was laughed at. Why are you guys boycotting the diner? Why are you guys wanting to ride in the front of the bus?
Where's the civil rights analogy come in? I'm not.
Okay.
Like, what's
Black Lives Matter? Just on the face of it, hey, there's indication there that there's a certain aspect of our populace that feels like they're persecuted.
So you're saying that the racial dimension or whatever, the racial facet of it, that equates it to the civil rights matter? I can't say
Well,
with that.
I don't
maybe
see
not
any
at
evidence
this
that it's
point.
targeted because these abuses have gone against whites and Hispanics and other
Right.
races too, and
But
and couching it strictly in terms of I think this undermines it weakens it weakens the case against this, which I think is legitimate, by claiming it's some kind of just a racial thing. No, it's about police excess. It's about the militarization of police and all of this stuff, and this has been directed against whites and blacks, but unfortunately, there's a higher concentration of minorities in certain areas, and that's reflecting more poorly on them in their numbers. But this is about police access. It's not about a civil rights violation, and that
I
whites
have another perspective.
Go ahead.
I have another perspective, and I challenge anybody who disagrees with this to spend 8 weeks in your local ambulance or fire or police department and watch the way John Q. Public of any color acts towards a police department. Then I ask you
I'm
to take
nice.
a look. Wait. You're nice, right? So this is why you can't understand. But what then I'm asking you to see
I'm not
is
supposed to be
what
nice?
yeah, you're supposed to be nice. But what I'm saying, like the black kid runs out naked in the corner of a police officer's view, who is trained to react, right? And they're taught that any type of threat like that, you're not shooting to maim. This is what they're taught to do, right?
I'm
Then
sorry.
I'm
So
going to ask.
a black person running out naked is a
It
threat?
doesn't even have. Wait. You really you're assuming that you know what that man saw. All he saw was somebody coming at him, and he is instructed, and he had to act in such a way against physical violence. Doesn't matter what color the person is. It doesn't matter,
Well,
right? It doesn't matter that they're
the way
naked.
You framed it
It's-
was a black person runs out.
I
and this
was
should be a
referring. I
cause
don't know
for-
I don't know the name of that incident
Well,
that
I
you're
can find
referring
the
to.
story.
So
Well, so
but what I'm
maybe
saying is
clarify what you're saying.
there is another factor that I think that we forget about, is that I don't believe that human beings were ever meant to get up each morning and go into a war zone. Do you imagine what it's like
No,
when
they
you
weren't.
when you go into work each day knowing that probably your chances of getting shot are better than anybody else's, and depending on where you work,
Are we talking
south
about
side of
cops or
Chicago.
soldiers?
Yes. Well, I don't know. Is there a difference? Some
Yeah,
days
there
I
is.
wonder.
U.S.
There is?
Yeah, if you look at the most dangerous jobs in the U.S., like where there's the most on-the-job fatalities,
Uh-huh.
police and fire don't
Yeah.
make. Yeah, they don't even make the top 20 list. It's
Wasn't
garbage
talking
men. They have the most dangerous
Wasn't
jobs.
talking about death. I was talking about stress. I was
well,
talking.
well,
Wait.
That would
Asking
be
you.
okay.
Hmm.
But the idea that police and fire in the U.S. are the most dangerous jobs.
I didn't say
that's-
that. I did not say that.
Well, I asked you
Not where
that.
I was going with that. No, that's not where I was
Okay,
going
that's
with
why I asked you for the clarification. So if you didn't
Well,
mean
I didn't
that,
get a chance
then
to
go
yet.
ahead. Oh, you did, but go ahead.
No, I didn't. What I was saying to you was, when you take a look at, is our brain, is our body, is our nervous system meant to take that kind of stress and assault day in and day out, right? Because tell me that you, I mean, if you know what these guys go through, if you know what it's like
Which
to walk
guys?
into the police officers, if you know what it's like to be an officer in an urban area walking into houses where you know that there are felons and drugs and lots of
Well,
guns,
that's
and
a
that
kind of
you can be
bigotry
out.
of
You can be
expectations,
out.
sugar. I mean,
Sorry.
you can't
Well-
have a cop be that more predisposed to using deadly force just because of the neighborhood.
Right,
Correct?
and
No,
those
what
jobs.
I'm asking is
but
human error.
Those jobs
How
are
do you
more.
ask somebody to go above and beyond, be more than they are as a human?
But I just
Well,
wanted to make the
then
point. The
Find
point I
another
was making.
capacity than having a gun over people, sugar. That's the first thing that jumps to my mind.
The danger
What?
and the danger
Don't be
and
a cop.
stress. Can I make it?
Go
The
ahead.
danger and stress level that's associated with those jobs has been sort of promoted by the media, because, as I was just trying to tell you, as Bunta was, those jobs are not the highest on-the-job mortality jobs by any stretch.
I'm not
People
talking
who,
about mortality. I'm talking about
well,
what snaps, what
mortality is
pushes
a
a
high.
person, what pushes a person to the edge where they start compromising their values as a worker, as a man, as a person, where they are acting erratically, whether they're acting, where
Okay.
they're. Do you understand what I'm saying? How long can
Yes.
you do that
But
job?
why wouldn't a
Pyong, don't they have
telephone pole
evaluations for
engineer-
cops to measure see
Yes,
if they
they
get burned
do.
out?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I hear what Sugar's saying, and I agree. Like, because if like he's running around naked, dude. I read the article just now that you linked.
Right.
He was running around naked in an apartment complex, chasing after people and acting erratically. You know what that says to me? PCP, baby.
Right.
Okay, so if this cop has gone to this apartment complex and knows there's a PCP den, you know, and he's like, oh, but I'm saying, how many times are you going to have that happen to you? You know what I mean?
True.
Somebody
All right.
comes up-
So all right.
So
he
it's just
shoots to kill right off the bat.
well, but see,
Well.
how familiar are you with firearms, first of all? Because, like, shooting, you know, it's hard to hit a moving target, so that's one thing. And then, yeah, they're going to shoot for center mass, but, yeah, shooting is bad, don't get me wrong, okay? But, yeah, shoot to
Okay.
kill, you know, that kind of thing, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that I can understand Sugar's point. That's probably the motivation. You know, the cop that shot the black kid in Chicago that had the knife, and this kid had a knife and was on PCP. Okay,
Right. Okay.
but the guy shot him and got charged with murder. Yeah, wrong. I hear that it's wrong. Okay, yes, totally. I agree that it's wrong. And you would like to believe in this. I would like to believe in this narrative where cops are reserved and they're there for everybody's safety, and they'd rather take a stabbing, you know, than shoot somebody. But you know, like Sugar says, they go into these neighborhoods every day. It's got to wear on them, you know.
Okay.
Like not the cops in my town. The cops in my
Oh,
town
I
don't
dare
do
you.
shit.
I dare you. I mean, I dare you to do that job. Bunto, me, a girl, I mean, I've walked into a
Well.
house to help grandma who's having a heart attack. I've had a gun held to me. If she dies, you die.
Fine. Okay, but
No,
let me explain to you.
most
It
of
could have
these,
easily been a
takes a
5-year-old
toll
kid
on people.
coming
I'm
out of the
sorry, could
corner
I
of the
just-
cop's eye, Sugar, than
Most
the
of
black
these-
kid himself.
Most of these kind of situations were created by idiotic prohibition laws and stuff like that really aren't any
Legalize
any
PCP.
there really aren't any danger to peaceful citizens. So the government wants to declare war with these people, and so they're going to get into this situation. Then we're supposed to say, "Oh, what was show the cop? What should they have done?" So this is the kind of idiocy that comes with prohibition.
Prohibition, that is a weird...
Well, that's what it is. We
Come
like
on.
the word. We like to come up with different words, but drug prohibition is like alcohol prohibition. We had the same kinds of problems. So now we're
I
saying,
agree.
oh,
For them to
yes,
legalize PCP
I would
would
agree
be
with that.
much more scary than
Yeah.
the cop.
Well,
Yeah.
the reason
Well,
we have
it's not.
PCP is because of prohibition. It's actually more economical to transfer high concentrated drugs than low concentrated drugs, and so you have
Portugal's-
it's like bathtub gin. If you don't want to learn from history, that's fine, Bunto. But that's kind of what's happening.
I don't want to learn from that history. Anyway,
Yeah,
okay, how about this,
no, you
guys?
apparently don't.
Okay, let's say they invent a gun that could shoot like a rubber bullet, or it could shoot a lethal round, okay? And it would be up to the cop to, you know, make that decision with the trigger or something like that. You know, because these cops are predisposed for shooting, like you said, Pyong, at center mass, you know, so they're always lethal. You know, somehow that
Let's
first
have a
shot
more
could be a
efficient way for
rubber.
cops to shoot people. That would be great.
But I mean,
Well,
it has
they are
to
coming
be
up with
lethal.
They do have different types of weapons. They've got those nets and the bean bags. You know that they do actually have those. There are tasers now. But they, you know, when they did the tasers, that certain officers had a learning curve. You know, I mean, there are other means. There are dogs and all kinds of things. You know, there are other means.
Well,
But-
they don't need to be shooting people.
Right.
left and right.
Jeff, you know what? I know it's so easy for you to say that, but I just dare you, please go ride with somebody for
But
8 weeks and do
It
their
is not.
Yeah,
and go side by side with them
because they're-
and see
well,
see if
because
you
they're
have a
charged
different
with-
opinion.
Well, they're charged with enforcing
responsibility.
a lot of idiotic laws, and that's that they create this prohibition situation where we have this armed conflict between people who just want to buy and sell
Okay.
merchandise.
Yeah, I'll agree
Let
with
me
you on
ask
that.
Young.
I'll agree with you on that one.
That's idiotic, and yes, you're going to have this kind of insanity, and I don't have to ride with somebody to say that they're going to find themselves in some difficult situation because of this, but they shouldn't be in that situation to begin with, and that's my position. I'm about
Officers should
cure.
not be.
I'm about cure. I'm not about reform or.
Yeah, but you want cure from people who don't even care that the same babies that they saved they're now going to kill. I mean, it's just everything's convoluted.
No, I don't. If people want to buy drugs, they should be allowed to buy drugs. And
I agree.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Pyong, so the director of the FBI comes out and says, it's social media, it's a viral video's fault. I say,
No. He was making an analogy to viral videos. He didn't say
Right.
anything about social media.
but he's worried about the thing, going on. There's no way of stopping it. It's on the rise, right?
He says that he doesn't know how to stop it. He
How to
doesn't
stop it.
understand why it's happening.
Okay, so I say, why don't we just legalize drugs? If there's no better
What the
solution.
fuck?
Well, that's Jeff's position.
That's
I mean, doesn't
absolutely
it make
opposite.
sense?
Well, the drugs were legalized before 1914.
And the last 16 years in Portugal, they have been decriminalized, and the numbers are amazing.
Yes, absolutely. None
There you go, Tom.
of the horror stories happened, and we're not talking about how to kill drug dealers or whether to drive around or shoot them now or shoot them later. That was a
Give
very
them their
much a
candy,
peaceful-
Pyong.
It's not.
What do you
It's
say?
not a perfect decriminalization.
You want to stop Black Lives Matter? Give them their candy.
What are you talking about? This room is
It's all
spun
right.
out.
Hepatitis is down 75%. AIDS-related
Yeah.
You're not listening, Pyong.
problems. I mean, these first-time drug users between 15 and 24 down 8%. That was like 5-6 years ago. It's probably doing better. I mean, you're talking about hepatitis issues going away, overdose, all of these things that are a financial burden.
All the
PCP, Pyong.
here we're supposed to say, oh, well, should we shoot this PCP guy or not? They're not having those kind of discussions in Portugal because they've ended this madness. Not entirely, unfortunately, but
Not
for the
perfect.
most part, they've ended this madness, and we're in some post apocalyptic era where people just have to be shot on sight, and because all these
Right.
calamities are going to happen.
Stay.
This is because of prohibition and the drug war. Come on, Bunto, grow up.
During that,
I'm
during
agreeing with you, Jeff.
during that same time after I think it was
I'm
after
not
the
progressive enough.
after the Civil
Right.
War, when they sent home all those opium addicts, there were
Civil War was
there's-
over 100 years
just
ago.
listen. I know, but just listen. During that time, when the opium addicts came home, there was a lot of discussion about society and what was worse, the alcoholic or the opium addict. And they determined that socially they would rather have the opium addict because at the very least he's at home snapping his nod in front of whatever, the fireplace, whereas the alcoholic is causing more fights, more domestic violence, all kinds of issues. At that time, they determined that even the opium addict was better for society. This is when you could buy morphine out of the Sears Roebuck catalog. You could buy your hypodermic needles, all that stuff. It has to be treated as a health issue and not a criminal issue. Lots of people self-medicate to balance themselves out because of mental illness, emotional pain, trauma, whatever. Some people just want to get high, and that's okay.
Okay, so
The
law
victimless crime.
enforcement should realize this, right, Pyong?
Well, I think that we should definitely look at all of our friends across the world and take our lessons from them. We have and I'm not necessarily in favor of prohibition, But I do think that I'm not like Jeff, where he says, okay, make it all legal, hooray! I mean,
well,
I
it was
think
all legal. It's not a rare
Jeff,
idea. I mean,
Jeff, hold on
the
just
the
a
U.S.
second.
was
Hold on,
founded
pump the brakes. Pump the
on
brakes.
hemp was a big.
Hold on.
Jeff,
Hold
let
on.
John finish it. Go ahead, Phil.
So I think some drugs, you should probably have a mitigation strategy for them. Like I've said it before, crystal methamphetamine. You can do a supply side intervention on that. But yeah, I think we have lessons to learn, and I think that some of the violence could, but we don't. But not all the violence could. I mean, so why are like in that article that I posted, the young black men are killing other young black men? That's specifically what Comey was talking about. Why?
To the
Is it
extent
because
it's the drug war.
well, but yeah,
it's-
Jeff, it could be
it's-
but it's the money, right? I mean, it's something they're participating in the black market in order to make
no,
money.
because
I think it's
no,
street
because,
credibility too, John.
No, because if you have something that's in the black market, you can't go to court you can't use legitimate means to settle disputes. You have to if contracts are broken and stuff like that, and you're in the black market, you're not what you're dealing in is illegal. You have to the only means by which you have to settle disputes is violence. Whereas if these things were legal, we don't have liquor store owners adjudicating turf wars with violence
Everything was legal in the
those
Wild
things are
West,
legal.
Jeff. Everything was
that's
legal in the Wild West.
Right, and the Wild West wasn't that wild.
Wasn't that wild? Okay.
Oh no! Read I just read a great book called The Myth of the Wild Wild West. It was very not wild. Even if you take in the gunfight at the OK Corral and the few notable showdowns, it wasn't like the typical night in Baltimore or
There was
Chicago.
a lot of violence. Wasn't
a lot of violence.
There was hardly
A lot
any
of violence.
There was a lot of violence in the Wild West.
Vigilante
totally,
was born from the Wild West, right? Vigilance
you're
committees.
totally wrong about that.
Oh no, it's not. No, I'm not.
No,
You can't
no.
vigilance committees. How do you?
No,
What are you talking?
no.
I did. Out of Idaho. What are you talking about? Billy
Wait,
the
last
Kid.
thing.
No, you're really showing your ass here.
Pump the brakes
No, I'm
for a
sorry.
minute because
I'll be back in a
The
second.
last thing I
pump the
heard.
brakes,
you
because this
are
whole
so wrong.
thing- No,
No.
you've
Guys,
gotten off
you are-
on
everybody,
on this
people.
crazy tangent, okay? And essentially,
No,
what
it's
I
not
was
a crazy
saying,
tangent.
Jeff, hold on.
The Wild West was not
Pump the-
wild.
What
That's
the
a
fuck are
Hollywood
you talking about the Wild West for? Listen,
That's what I thought you said.
what you said, I was agreeing with, and then you
Okay.
went off on this. I don't know. You got on your unicorn and you fucking went.
It
baby.
started off with black on black violence, and it went to Wild West.
Yeah.
Right? And the Wild
What-
West was
what
not
the
that
fuck
violent.
is
So
the
we're
connection?
Participation in the black market is, sometimes what these folks have as opportunity. That's
yes.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree with Boyle Piss's comment, and I heard him, or I heard somebody say this before I went out, that the UK is all the same ethnicity.
Wow.
It's very similar compared to America. No, it's not the same. It's not all the same, but it's much more homogeneous than the U.S.
They've got a lot of folks from India. They've got a lot of Muslims.
Yeah,
Homogeneous
the
in
people
the
they
US?
colonized. Yeah, no.
When was the last time you were actually in Britain?
Oh, I've never been to Britain, so I'll stand corrected on this point. If you want to correct me.
Yeah, if somebody wants to come in from Britain.
When I was there in 2009 in London, and I tried to find British food, and the guy looked at me and laughed and said, "Lady, you're in London." And all I could find was shawarma and Indian food, and one of their national dishes is curry.
It's been diverse.
That's because
for
they colonized
centuries.
India.
Jeff, what are you talking about?
It's very hard to find British food in
But
London.
I think
Jeff, you're being very American, and
no, I'll stand corrected on this point, but I think American cities. I've heard.
read the chat on the YouTube.
Well, you take Miami. That's the most international cosmopolitan city I've been to. I've been to Barcelona. Uh, I've been to Egypt. I've not been to Northern Europe though, so I don't know.
Pyong,
Yeah,
that thing that you were talking about, the black on black crime.
yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
what's
ma'am.
sir? What is the demographics of that particular area? I mean, is it 80% African American, or is it?
Oh, well, see, that's what in the article that I put up there.
Uh-huh.
He actually says, let me see. He says that it. Hold on. Let me find it because I don't want to misquote it. Okay, here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Okay, so the quote. I'll just read the quote. Okay, this is from Comey, and he says, "Why does Dallas see a dramatic spike and Houston doesn't? The map and the calendar makes no sense," Comey said. "It's a complicated, hard issue, but the stakes couldn't be higher. A whole lot of people are dying, and I don't want to drive around it." And what he's talking about when he says drive around it, he's referring to it's happening in inner cities,
Right.
and that people, I guess, beltways and that sort of thing, they can get around it.
Okay. So that. Okay.
It is concerning. I mean,
Of course.
because
I mean,
he
if,
doesn't.
if it's like 80% African American, then it's just a numbers thing, right? It's of course it's probably going to be mostly black on black crime, just because of the ratio of demographics. Or am I completely wrong?
Right. Well, he's talking. He's definitely talking about minorities who live in particular neighborhoods. But
Okay.
I can't say he's. And again, here's another quote. He said, "It's again happening in certain parts of the cities, and the people dying are almost entirely black and Latino men, and we can't drive around that problem."
Okay.
So, but that's all I know about it. So sorry about
Right.
that.
Okay. They used to knock Obama for being a social, what was it, community organizer?
Yeah.
Now, isn't that exactly what we need? Somebody to organize those communities?
I don't know, man.
You white people crack me up. I don't know. Have you ever? I mean, how much time have y'all spent in the ghetto?
None.
Not lately. Not much lately.
Okay. All right.
Well, what does that
Okay.
mean exactly, Sugar? Does that mean
Well,
that
what
there's
it
no
means, I think
remedy to
I
that
think that
situation, or?
no, I think there's plenty of remedies. I just think that for it's like British royalty standing around acting like they know how to take care of the very, very poor untouchables in Calcutta. They're so far away from each other. I
Well,
don't know how. I remember the first time I
apparently
walked
those
into the
untouchables in
ghetto.
Calcutta are unable to remedy their own situation.
The point is, I remember the first time I walked into the ghetto and coming from an upper middle class white neighborhood, and I thought I knew what poor was. I had no clue what poor was really like. I had no clue how people really lived in projects and stuff. It's a whole different world, and I think
Fine.
it's silly that we pretend that we
Can
know
we
what
be
it's like.
concerned about it? I don't think so.
No, it's not
Absolutely
concern.
the right reaction.
Absolutely the right reaction, but it's the wrong way, and it's to think that it's almost, I hear this elitism that somehow if we could just civilize them, it's just it's not that
Okay,
simple.
what would you have us do instead?
Well, again, you have to change the mindset of people that
Fine.
on all sides. I mean, the whole social narrative would
Fine.
have to change, right?
To what?
If I had the answers, don't you think?
Right,
I'd solve
okay,
it?
you have the complaint, but you don't have
Right.
the answer. Okay, we
See,
have a
No, I
candidate
don't
like
have
that
the
right
complaint.
now.
I'm
His name's
complaining.
Bernie Sanders.
You guys being out of touch. I'm complaining that I think you guys are out of touch. That it's not just so simple. It's not that simple. There's a lot that goes along with it.
Well, I'll take that criticism about, people who are not involved and they think they have the answers. I take that criticism, and I also hear what Bunto is saying too, because it's been a problem, it's not being solved.
I would agree.
Specifically though, what I'm saying is and I'll reiterate it. If the Black Lives Matter movement, because they do have energy and they have media attention, I mean,
It's
like
working.
old media. I don't know that it's working, Bunto. That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, working,
Well, hold on.
not so much in its aim, but it's working, in its trajectory.
I think some of the
about it.
people are talking about it, yes, and I think some of the most egregious, nasty things that have been said have been grabbed on by old media, and it's shown on TV. You know, and people, you know, depending on what spectrum you are politically, they are in the ideological spectrum. You might be on Fox News. They say they want to kill cops and stuff, and so the old people get afraid. But what I want to reiterate is, if they were to do something practical that was effective, I would have no problem with them whatsoever, and I really have no problem with people complaining.
Okay.
I don't like, you know, like if they wanted to say bring the culpability of law enforcement officers in line with regular citizens and no more military training, good.
Okay.
Good.
Now, like if Barack Obama said he wanted to take over Black Lives Matter, would there be an outcry?
Good luck. Good luck, man.
I love it.
Is this a problem in your neighborhood? Because this is what I'm wondering. Is well, never mind. I'm going to shut
In
up.
my neighborhood, I can walk the streets. I walk around the neighborhood all the time.
That must be nice.
I
The
walk
thing
around
is-
naked.
Yeah. The thing is that
And
We
I'm
don't
sorry.
wanna-
What was your address?
okay, listen. Even though I live
shot.
right, I live in safety, sugar. You know, it's just I can't in my conscience let those people that are suffering. And you know, I don't know. They call it Cabrini Green anymore. Pyong, what do they call it?
Cabrini is gone.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, those terrible places. You know, Bedford Stuy. You know, they
Right.
don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to live like
The
we're in
Acorns
a third
in
world
Oakland, yeah,
country. But you know, the thing is that we're seeing a lot of things ever since the invention of the body cam, of how
Mhm.
police work is being handled. You know, in the United
Right.
States. So
And have you seen the way
it's
that
revelatory.
and you've seen the way that things are reported awkwardly as well, where they'll have even the media will show you only a portion of a video, and when you see the whole
Sure.
entire video, it paints a completely different picture.
But I will dare say that the majority of people, the citizenry, is still behind the police force. There may be an outcry against police tactics, but the
think
people
you're
are
probably
still for law and order.
I think you're probably right.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm you know, you got to pick a side, and I've seen bad cops, but yeah, I'm on the cops team. Got to be.
I
Yeah.
mean, what other side are you going to be on the, you know, the disorganized side? I guess that's, you know, politically
There are
correct
some- there-
because of disorganized.
Well,
Yeah.
when you've seen enough dirty cops, and you see the fact that they don't care, a dirty cop doesn't care what color your skin is or who you are, and they come in all different colors. Dirty cops are in every color, and they pick on anybody because it's about power. It's about abuse. It's not necessarily only about racial issues. I can't say that it isn't ever, but I've seen them all. I've seen them. Black cops, black thugs.
Okay,
White cops,
they
white
have
trash.
this thing
I mean,
called the thin blue line. Have you heard of that, sugar? The thin blue line?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Should that not be done away with?
yeah. It should be. I mean, the prisons have the green wall. I mean, they've got they've
That's
all got
Fenway
it.
Park.
But part
are you
of it,
Go, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
part of it is the fact that I'm going to again point to the overwhelming nature of certain jobs. Of course, prison guards have their own set of issues with, you know, people smuggling stuff in. I think it comes just down to human character, because just because you're a cop doesn't mean that you're necessarily the most ethical person in the world, and certainly we all can figure out how to get through some of these, you know, evaluations. It's, you know, I've seen plenty of people become police officers that have no business being police officers, and you know, everything in between. Good people, bad people,
Right.
they're still people.
But we don't want like the child predator to become our school teacher, so we want to have evaluation of these cops.
But and this is why I say, though, people need to get to their own small government. They need to get to their city council meetings. If they're having a problem, they need to be showing up and filling up that city council chamber and making sure that everybody knows that there's something wrong, that something is going wrong, instead of waiting until somebody gets shot.
so
Right?
more
If you're there
community
week
activism,
after week.
more community.
Yeah, take control of your surroundings. You know, take care of your own house, then move out to your block, then move out to your tract of homes, and, you know, just keep
Homeowners Association.
widening the circle. You know, it's pretty logical, I think.
What say you, Sid?
I say, Pyong, did you have something to say?
I think he AFK'd.
Oh, pardon me, he said. Oh, that means. I have something to say.
Good.
But I need to know what the subject is.
We're talking about
Yeah.
community activism,
Black Lives Matter.
getting involved with your neighborhood.
Okay. Just
I'm for that.
I don't know. Well, what is it? A for or against or?
You're for it, right? Or you're against it? You just want people to leave you alone.
Oh, I'm totally against it. Yeah, leave me alone.
Okay, there you go, sugar.
I know. Well, I mean,
Not
it's
exactly
nothing's
apathy. It's just
well,
doesn't wanna
nothing's
give up.
perfect, right? I mean, if we could improve things 30%, it would be a significant difference, right? I mean, I'm not a complete utopian, idealistic zealot or anything.
but
It's just
Sid doesn't want to be bothered.
that's fine. Then Sid doesn't have to be bothered. Then he doesn't get to complain when somebody kicks his ass and nobody comes to help him, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion as far
What
as
do you
I'm
think of that,
concerned.
Sid?
I can take care of myself.
You can take
Yeah.
care of yourself. You can handle yourself, streetwise.
He
I'm
looks
from
like
Africa. Don't forget, I'm from Africa.
it.
You don't dial
And you-
911.
In Africa,
sexy.
blacks kill blacks too. And boy, do they kill blacks. Boy, do blacks kill blacks.
Okay, so why don't you want to help your neighbor, Sid? Why do you just want to be like an ostrich with the head in the ground?
Look, I can't even help myself. Why should I help my neighbor? How come?
Okay, see, there you go,
What possible
sugar. He
help
can't
could
even
I
help
possibly
himself.
be to my neighbor if I can't even help myself?
Can't even help himself, sugar. So what you
My-
talking
my-
about,
my-
Willis?
Well, my guess is that if we all helped each other a little more, we wouldn't be so overwhelmed, and then we wouldn't be in that position. It's which comes first, the chicken or the egg? It's putting the cart before the horse. It's all the cliches that we can think of that we don't pay attention to. You know, two wrongs don't make a right. On and on and on. If we don't learn our history, we're destined to repeat it. It's just we're not paying attention.
Well, I think we can help our neighbors. In my case, there's a division of labor. I'm good at fixing computers. My neighbors are good at carpentry and stuff like that, so I can barter with them and do stuff for them, and they can help me out. So
I think that's wonderful.
I don't live in an atomistic world where I can live on an island by myself. I need a division of labor. I think most people do.
Yeah. I think that we have so many things working against us that keep our focus away from each other. I mean, even starting with religion, you know, it's you're with me or you're against me, or you're, you know, don't let the common man take credit for his own successes. He's got to give all glory to God, but yet if he screws up, somebody else is going to atone for those sins. You never get a sense of self. You don't.
Right. If he screws up, it's his fault. But if things good happen, it's God. We should.
Right. But even worse than that, you're right. If he screws up, yeah, it's that Christian's fault or whatever, which I don't think is right. But also that Christian knows that his sins are atoned for. I mean, Jesus is already taking care of that. So there's not really a sense of self. And if you don't have a sense of self, you can't see yourself reflected in somebody else.
There's a moral hazard problem. Yeah.
Right. And there's no value. You have no value in yourself, no value in other people. It just, it's a bad idea. But people turn to religion because we don't have each other.
Well, religion is essentially like a club or a gang. You go to your church, get indoctrinated into the gang. To gang activities.
I think that's kind of true. It's a community gang. In a way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should start ganging up, getting in the gangs in our community.
Safety in numbers. Well, do we have to be?
We already are in gangs in our community.
But why do we still fight each other? We keep talking about how
the Geritol gang.
We don't fight each other. We just ignore each other. That's what we do. It's not a matter of we don't clash. We're like magnets that don't attract. That repel.
But what happens when we get lonely? What happens when we feel left out?
On the internet.
I don't know. Dial 1-900 something.
Right. Hookers.
I love it.
Hookers and blow. Okay.
No, look, like my neighbors are like, to their own selves, and I'm to my own self, and I don't want them, querying me about my activities with you people.
Hmm.
I kind of
But
want to
what?
keep
Why
my
are?
own privacy.
Oh, I don't care one way or
How
the
would they
other,
know?
but
How would
I
they
just
know?
don't need. I don't have. I feel the need to include anyone in my immediate neighborhood in real life. In
Why are
my
we
private
passing
life.
judgment on? Why are we passing judgment on each other? I mean, isn't it okay to just say, "Hey, there's Bunto. He likes to hang out with a bunch of internet people. That's his thing. It's not my thing, but that's his thing." I mean, what? Why do we have
A
to?
lot of libertarians.
It's not a matter of being a libertarian. It's just a matter
That brings us back.
of
That
knowing.
brings us full circle to transgender bathrooms.
Oh,
Why
there
do
you
we need
go.
transgender bathrooms?
Come
I'm
on.
completely for transgenders.
The passable transgenders have been using the bathroom right next to you for longer than you can even imagine. It's just being brought to light.
I know. Where do you think we meet?
Okay,
I'm
good.
for the
I love it.
separation of bathroom and state.
Hmm?
I'm
Okay,
for
listen,
the separation of bathroom and state.
You're right.
people
It's
really
like,
got mad at Obama on Friday because of that letter that he sent to all our schools. Like,
Well, you know what?
he's the president or something? Come on.
What
It
a
seems
power grab that is.
it seems that the government has gotten out of the bedrooms of the nation, gay marriage and
And now they're
everything,
in a can.
and they jumped into the fucking toilet, with the nation. What
You're
the
a
fuck?
Canadian, right, Sid? So
Jesus.
you complain about America a lot.
Exactly. That's very
I
well
don't blame
put.
him. I don't blame him. I mean, I complain about my own country. They're a mess.
Okay, listen, he's the president of the United States. This guy can send a letter to whatever freaking thing in the United States he wants to, right, Jeff?
So what about like the lockers? Like the lockers should
Yeah, the boys' locker room, and, chick
so
comes in.
transgendered guys go into the female lockers where they
The
shower
problem,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Well,
Well, the
it's
problem is
not their fault
sexual.
they
The
were
problem
born
is sexual.
dudes.
The problem is that we're all brought up to be sexual freaks, that we can't accept people just for the way they are, that sex is so taboo still. We're all still shamed by our naked bodies and our
No,
boners.
I agree with that, but
I
even
think that if
so,
you're talking about locker rooms
Hmm.
and you're talking the way you're talking, it
Hmm.
means you've never been in a locker room. It
Are
means
you
this is
kidding
your
me?
fantasy. This is your fantasy about what would happen in a locker room to you, and I think that's just projecting.
I was a
Just leave it
cheerleader.
alone.
Come on. I've been in more locker rooms.
Men's
Come
sport.
on.
I wasn't talking to you.
Okay,
Listen.
darn it.
I was at the gym, and the old biddy came up to me and said, "You know what Obama did today?" And she read me the riot act, and I said that it's not their fault that they were born, the wrong gender, and it's okay for them to use whatever bathroom they identify with. Okay, the thing is that that they're old school and I'm new school, progressive, right? Isn't that what the issue really is? That's just a progressive issue.
well, there's lots of issues. It's whether the national government can impose this, can decree this upon any and all clubs, and whether it
Well,
knows
they're the ones
best.
paying these clubs, Jeff.
Well, that's wrong too.
Oh, okay.
But are transgender? What's the crime rate amongst transgender people? I mean, is it anything that we even need to be concerned
Against
about?
them, quite high actually, but that they commit themselves,
Against-
I think it's minuscule.
A
Trans on
sexual?
trans?
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. And any type of sexual perversion or rape or anything that would concern
No,
people.
this is an issue purely of discrimination.
Oh, well, then screw them.
And,
Yeah.
Screw the people
It's
who
purely
are not
Nobody
transgender.
said anything about transgender bathrooms ever until the gay marriage
Gay
issue
marriage,
was
right.
over.
Yeah.
Fuck that. That's all it is.
That's silly. Hey, this
But,
stuff stays a thing because we keep it a thing. When we start shutting
It's
it
dumb.
down,
It's dumb.
yeah.
in the
Like
libertarian society, Jeff, it'd be a-okay to go ahead and discriminate against trans, because it's your bathroom.
Well, we all discriminate against in our houses. We decide who can come into our houses and stuff like that. So
So a public,
A
bathroom.
libertarian has a total option of minding his own business and getting on with his day.
yeah, exactly. So if I wanted
Yeah,
to,
but
if I wanted to have a club where I wanted to have neutral gender bathrooms, that's perfectly fine in a libertarian society.
What about a
But,
human society?
As long as it's voluntary.
Exactly.
the thing is that, okay, what Jeff objects to is the President of the United States actually doing his job. And
His job is to guard
Equal Rights
bathrooms.
Amendment, the equal rights, the
His
equal
job,
rights,
his job is to build walls between Mexico and Malaysia.
the equal rights amendments of our Constitution.
His job is to decide
that.
who gets to go into the bathrooms or not. Come on, I think you.
No, his job is
amendment.
Now there's a man with nothing fucking
Oh,
to do.
Jesus Christ! Oh God!
the laws that we have on the books that are against discrimination. He chooses to enforce them. That is the job.
Well, that's the 1964 Civil Rights
Civil
Act,
Rights
which
Act,
is
right.
not the Sermon on the Mount.
Oh,
But,
It was a good year, though.
I think it's better than the Sermon on the Mount. To tell you the truth.
well, it's can't be any worse. But
What is it?
Fucking Jeff. Jeff, what are you drinking, son?
Okay, listen.
no, the Civil Rights Act violated a
What
lot of.
The Libertarian president does what job, Jeff, in the Libertarian
Resigns.
Society?
And
I mean, he resigns, right?
Damn it, Jeff.
I mean, there's no leadership, is there?
right, there's no central authority. No,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
we figure out these things on our own. Like
Boy,
common
boy.
law, like the English.
That's it.
common
I'm
law
opening a
tradition.
beer. Forget it. There we go. Sorry. I can't do this
Okay.
sober.
So, okay, just to take the other end of the issue, is there any reason to deny transgenders the use of a restroom? Anybody? Socioeconomic, anything besides religion? Any reason?
The only argument I heard against it, I don't find that it has much merit though, was that you are establishing a bright line rule, and you know, if you say that, it has to do with how we identify people, you know. But so if somebody is identified as a man or is identified as a woman or can define for themselves how they want to identify, then you know, you open the door to men being able to use women's bathrooms. But like I say, I don't find any merit in it. So no, I don't think so. I think it is a generated issue. I think it's all
I
bull.
agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. Yeah.
Isn't the not the Netherlands, but Sweden and these areas, Denmark, don't they have a lot of mixed
You know what? They probably do.
gender
And it's not a big
facilities?
Sure,
deal.
every country
Never
does.
hear about it.
Fairly sure that they do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had an office where we had all kinds of people working there, and there was, you know, it was suites, and we only had one bathroom.
Right.
So it was, you know, everybody went in there,
Okay.
and we just were
Before
normal
this-
enough not to. Go ahead.
Well, in my house, I have a transgendered bathroom. Anybody can use it.
You have to dress up as a woman. Okay, let me ask you this.
Like Buffalo Bill.
Camera in there.
Could I be arrested for using the woman's bathroom in the
Hey,
past? If I
I
had
wanted to wear somebody's skin once.
use the
Sorry,
bathroom?
just kidding.
Like, I had to use the bathroom, so I used the woman's. Could I be arrested for that?
Dude, did I ever tell you my story? I told you this story, right? I'm sorry, here's a sidetrack. When I was in engineering, you know, I was in school for engineering, and I used to always go into the engineering department, and there was a secretary in there. She was about 20 years older than me, but we had a great relationship, okay? We were always joking. And so I come out of the can one day, and she's looking at me like I just kicked her puppy, okay?
Right.
And I'm thinking, what is this woman's problem, you know? And then the door, she stopped me and she gave me that dirty look, so I kind of just stood in the door, and then the door hit me, and I turned around and I realized a lot of questions that I had over the last 2 minutes were suddenly resolved. Like when I went into the can, why it was like a pastel yellow, and why weren't there any urinals? And why was the guy in the stall next to me, why his feet were so small, you know?
And they
tampon
bought
machines?
it. Did they buy it, John? They actually bought it.
Oh, I just kept walking. Fucking. I didn't say anything. Yeah, that poor girl that was next to me. I'm in there asking for a courtesy flush. You know, I'm banging on the. Hey, Jesus, what'd you eat, fella?
So you didn't get a date with the lady outside the
right.
bathroom, huh?
Right.
Didn't take you out.
Okay, listen. When you gotta go, you gotta go. So what's all bathrooms should be transgendered now, man. Just freaking open them up.
I don't know.
In Japan, they don't like to hear each other pee, so they have they have music playing in
Fuck
the
the
bathrooms.
Japanese.
Nice warm seats, though.
I would say I think that Sugar has a good point. If you made them more private, like little closets or something, what would it matter? You know,
Yeah.
we have the open stalls, and you can hear and smell and all that stuff. So yeah, and the urinals, of course, but that's an efficiency thing. I can't see getting rid of urinals for men because it's just so much more efficient. You know.
But
Hey, I'm in a
you know what
hurry,
this
man.
You know what this whole thing says, though, right? This whole thing says, okay, so now they're saying, oh my gosh, transgender people want to use their bathrooms, and so they think that every pedophile is calling each other going, hey, Ricky, guess what? They're letting the transgender people in the bathroom. Now's our time. Grab your dresses, boys. We're going on That's not happening.
I'm a
Trust me.
vector of attack.
You know what I mean? If they wanted in, they'd have gotten in a long time ago. Silly. Just silly.
Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. I have no idea why they would be pushing this stuff through the state legislatures, other than it plays with their base. You know, I mean, their base knows that the country is changing. Yeah, I think so.
I would have no problems with private organizations deciding what kind of bathrooms they should have, but it's getting into the legislative process, which means it's going to be top down and
Top down, what? Sorry.
It's top down legislation. It's going to be one size fits all, and it's not going to be for
I
everybody.
suppose you were paying for the road, and then they, said that you can't use it. I mean, wouldn't you think that would be discrimination? You're paying for that road, but they say you can't use it.
If I paid for a road and somebody said I couldn't use it, yes, that would be. No, it would be a breach of contract. It wouldn't be discrimination.
Well, I mean, can't you see that here for the, this person is, transgender. They pay taxes for that bathroom, so they.
Well, nobody's denying anybody a bathroom.
Well, that's what North Carolina did, right? Pyong, were they denying the bathroom?
Well, they were.
Don't get me in this shit.
No, they weren't denying anybody a bathroom. They were saying that, but you have to use a bathroom that's aligned with your biological sex rather than your whatever your so-called whatever your sex is that you think you have.
Whatever the hell you are, dude.
Not everybody knows now.
Okay, listen. America
But
has
no,
the
nobody
worst
said
form
you
of-
couldn't go to the bathroom. They just said that you couldn't go to the bathroom that you might want to go to that's not aligned with your biological sex.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
This is truly the worst form ever that we're demonstrating to the entire world.
Okay, well,
America is
hold
being
on a minute.
assholes.
Should gay men be allowed to use the male washroom?
Why? What's
Your
the problem?
sexuality.
Right, because gay men might
Because they might
get turned on by.
They might get turned on by watching other
Now you
men.
see, that's a stereotype. That is a.
And if that's the case,
Sure, that's
the rape statistic of males in men's only bathrooms is going to skyrocket.
Rape the willing. No. Are you? First of all, it's arrogant of you to think that gay men want you. I've heard that before. Oh, you're not my type, or whatever. I mean, and are we saying that you gentlemen have no self-control? Because I believe that you do have self-control, and by saying that, it undermines your masculinity, or your character.
No, but I think I have a right to go to a washroom, a bathroom, where I'm not being ogled by another man.
Yeah.
But who says you're being
safe
ogled?
there in Canada.
Jeff, hop on that one. Yeah, that sounds great.
But no. But that's the same argument for there being a female a gender-specific thing for you. So I think Sid makes a good point there.
And so how do you regulate this? So, buddy, are you gay? No, let me get in the bathroom. Come on.
I have no desire to regulate this. I'm saying the market should regulate it, not the government.
Fucking market.
Damn right.
Jesus. I'm
The
sure that
the market gives us Google Plus, gives us the
getting on his
internet, gives
unicorn.
us Netflix, all these great things.
The Ford Pinto.
The government gives us shitty men's bathrooms and bus stations.
Fertilizer plant next to the old folks' home, right?
And the atheist says, Lord have mercy. Oh, my goodness.
Look, I don't think I've been in I know I've been in bathrooms with gay men, and I've never been like, oh, I think that guy's going to rape me. I mean, it's just not an issue.
Can't rape
I have had gay men, like, say, hey, like I walked out of the locker room in Hawaii.
And a gay man addressed you?
Dude, this guy was looking at me
what's
like,
the address?
yeah, you're looking good, buddy.
What's the address?
I want me some of that.
Wow.
No, I can't, like in our...
What can I say? He's got good taste, right? But I just say, hey, how you doing, buddy? And I walk by him.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Mythological things.
Next time you slap him on the ass and say, keep it hot, babe. Keep it hot.
Keep it hot. Great workout.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, listen. Okay, why don't we figure out what the next step is? Okay, gay bathrooms are going to go into pass. What's the new assault on LGBT rights they're going to do? That
LGBT people should have their alimentary systems regulated by the government.
they're going to probably, yeah, you bring up a point there. Like maybe they can get against, awareness. Like I know we have LGBT gay student alliances. Maybe they'll attack those.
They're gonna go after
the government should have rights for awareness, and the government should ensure.
I think so, Jeff. I mean, these are community, projects. They're paid for by the community, so they shouldn't be retrograde.
They need to regulate 51-year-old females, single females, because we're out of control.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The government should say
Thank you.
51-year-old females should be treated a certain way.
Exile.
Yeah, this is what the government should do.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
That would work out well.
Okay, we've already solved the thing where the in the emergency situation where the couples, the LGBT couple can, do right to life issues. That's already been solved, right?
Well, yeah.
Power of attorney stuff.
Well, if you're legally able to marry, then you're.
Okay, because that wasn't resolved until the Marriage Equality Act. I know that.
Right. But now that you're married, then you're good.
I guess palimony and all that stuff goes.
So the government has declared all those things, and they're now good.
Okay, well,
That's
how about this
solved.
one where the guy wants to marry his dog, right? Is that the next one where there's going to be an affront?
There's already a lady that
The
she
government
married,
should probably
married a
make a
dolphin.
position on that.
You can marry anything. It's just not legally recognized by, as far as benefits or anything like that. Look, what about when we start having all the...
Oh, is that true?
But
Have
why shouldn't
polygamous-
people marry their dogs?
Hey, Pyong, when you leave in your will everything to your cat, is that legal?
I guess it would. Okay.
We can't stop you.
So, if you leave it, they can't stop you. If you leave it in a will, what would happen was it would be challenged in probate court. So if you made a will and you said I leave everything to Skittles,
Right.
then your kids would go to court and they would be like, look, Your Honor,
Yep.
she was obviously not of sound mind.
No,
Right.
Skittles is my cat, Your Honor.
Well, what if you're married to your cat? Should
But
that be,
if you're married to your cat, god damn, Jeff. But if you
Shouldn't
now
that
if
be
you
a-
if you created a trust instrument, on the other hand, and you created a trust, and then in the trust instrument you told the trustee you are to use the corpus of the trust to inure to the benefit of Skittles for the remainder of Skittles' life, then that would probably fly.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm sure it would.
Not if my
Good old
family members
lawyers.
ran the trust. Sorry. Inside joke, never mind.
Okay, so should a person be allowed to marry a pet, Pyong, or is that just ridiculous?
Jeez, Bonto, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, you know,
No, because I mean, I don't even know why
It's
I'm
like
giving a
that
serious answer to this one, but obviously you enter into a legal status
Hey.
with another person, and yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I mean, well, you think it's trivial today, but in a couple of years, that maybe you may be having called upon
Well-
to make a serious response to that.
What
Well,
about
see,
a
I'm
real
not
sex
of
doll?
attack
You could marry
for the
a
right
real
way.
sex doll. You could
I-
marry-
But
Yeah.
see, based on the what I think the genesis of this particular issue is, which is like we all I think agree on that it's political, and it serves the interest of the re-election campaigns of some fucking idiot. I don't think that kind of issue would come up, and that was something that I was thinking about when Bunto asked what is the next frontier or the next battle line
yeah.
that will be drawn where they'll be able to discriminate against LGBT, and I hope that's not the case. I hope they're not actively just thinking about ways to kind of screw people over because the demographics of the United States are changing.
It's probably dogs and cats. That's probably the next. That's probably the next.
Dogs and cats
battle line.
living together.
Well, okay, how about
in
this one, guys?
area.
A lot of people really love their dogs and cats, and
Well, how about this, Jeff? Okay, Chelsea Manning, right? A prisoner who wants to, transition in prison. They're going to be against that. They're going to start cracking down on that, I imagine.
oh yeah, she was. Yeah, Chelsea's horribly victimized.
Okay, do you think that should be allowed, Jeff, that a person can transition in prison, on the taxpayer
Yes.
money?
Specifically, public funds for sex.
No.
I don't think she should be in prison.
Yeah,
Way to
but
dodge the question, Jeff.
What'd she do?
She
What did she
informed
do?
the Americans people as to what their government was doing to them.
yes, but also was a traitor.
Fucking
I agree with you. I agree with you, Jeff. She freaking just informed, but nevertheless.
Oh, wait a minute. Chelsea Manning wasn't a traitor, right? It was more espionage than treason.
They used the Espionage Act of 1917, which had to do with World
Still
War
good.
That's what they've thrown against Chelsea, and what they've thrown against Snowden as
Snowden
well.
when he shows up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is she
espionage.
still in
is-
Russia? Sorry.
Yeah, he's in Russia. His girlfriend's with him now.
Mm.
Espionage is when you access secret information and pass it on, and then treason is when you access secret information and it's against the interests of the sovereignty. So you could participate in espionage without it being treasonous.
Right. But Chelsea Manning should be free.
Okay, Jeff, gotcha.
All right, but
She should not be. We should not be talking about what the prison should do for her.
okay,
She should have just done her job.
let's suppose there's some guy in maximum, federal
She
maximum
would have been
security,
in jail.
and then he's getting a real hard time. So he says, "I want to transition so I can go to a women's prison out of here." I mean, should that be allowed, or
No.
why not? He wants to transition.
Well, if you want to get into this, I think prison and the criminal justice system is so distorted. It should be what prison should be, or what criminal justice should be, is restorative. It should be about restoring the victims of their crimes that they're committed.
Well, if everybody
Committed to having done. So if you have robbed somebody, you're to the extent that you're in prison, and I don't think you should be necessarily incarcerated, but you should be responsible for paying back a person that you have wronged. And
What's the life, Jeff? I mean, they killed the whole family. I mean, how are they going to repay that?
well, that's been dealt with in criminal law theory, and I think Rothbard has dealt with that, and I don't want to get into it to a full extent, but
They have done a
the
cost analysis, a benefit and cost analysis. For,
no, it's not a cost-benefit analysis. It is a moral argument, but basically, it's the idea. If you had a restorative system of law, what would happen is if somebody had committed a violent act against the loved one of yours and had killed them, they would have designated you as an heir of whatever happened to them. So if you were a beneficiary of their life insurance policy, let's say, you would have a legal claim against what you had done to them, and their compensation to you, they would be in order to have to compensate you for what they had done to you, they would there would be it would be compensatory towards you, and so their death you would have been a beneficiary of their death, and therefore it would have gone towards you. And how would this all be discussed? Whether you could go against their prisoner or not would be you would not want to do that, but their insurance policy against you would pay out, and you would get a death benefit from what happened to them, and they would go after the accused. That's kind of how it works in a shorthand way.
Okay, Pyong, did that make sense to you?
Well, no, because Jeff, there is a very, thank you for that, Jeff. There is a very important element to our criminal justice system, and it's punitive, and that is it prevents long-term feuds, because it's not just that you make someone whole. There is that element as well that can arise from criminal activity. It's civil lawsuits that are, like the OJ case. OJ got let off, and then they went after him in a civil suit, that sort of thing. So that's, making people whole for their damages. But there's a punitive aspect of it too, where the law steps in and says, we're not going to have people fighting in the streets. This isn't.
But that's social engineering. That's not the same thing. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be that external benefit, but a justice situation is when people are made whole, not when society learns a lesson or we make some
Justice is an ambiguous term that many people use, and typically when they use it in the UK, they mean their day in court. When they use it in the United States, it's a judgment about a particular conclusion. If they agree with the conclusion of the court, it's a just verdict. If they don't, it's unjust. So I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about as far as justice goes.
No, I'm talking about people being compensated.
I heard
for their loss. So you're right. If it's a crime like a robbery where there's some quantitative amount, that's much more simple. But I think the same principles can apply to the loss of life or these extreme cases if you want to invoke them. So like, yeah, right. If you steal something from me, I think you can make a objective case that I should get back what you stole from me. Plus, maybe I even find the case that like you give me twice what you stole from me because you initiated this against me, and I had to go through this, so you give me twice that, and plus you pay for my legal expenses or whatever. So I think this has been worked out very effectively in common law and stuff like that. And but even if it's a murder, you obviously can't replace somebody's life. You can't restore the missing loved one that was taken. But that doesn't mean it can't be restorative, and that. To me, this idea that it becomes some crime against society, that the government that they get to be the beneficiary of whatever penalties are claimed.
Well,
It seems to
we
be
are the beneficiary.
really
Jeff.
morally upside down. So.
Okay.
I don't know
Jeff,
where
did it
you're
ever
going with it.
cross your thinking that there would be people that do not want to ever, repay? I mean, they just want to commit crime and just, if they get caught, they're just going to prison.
Right.
They don't.
Yes, and that might well happen, and that might be a reason why, if you had a free system, you might want to have an insurance kind of system where you would have some agent acting on your behalf, and if this murderer who was a lowlife and all that obviously didn't have the resources to pay you, the insurance company would nonetheless pay you, and they would go after this person.
It's society's best interest that that person is in jail behind bars, not to commit the same crime against somebody else.
That's to me, that's not the purpose of justice. Yeah, it might be nice if that person would be. I think that person would be penalized in a lot of ways. If that person were dangerous, I think that would be a separate situation. But if that person were just very much economically imposed upon to pay you to the extent that they can, that would be sufficient. But if
Is this like a Dungeons and Dragons game that you're running, Jeff?
Nope, not
Hey,
at all.
okay, so forget Bradley Manning. Just say any prisoner in jail who wants to get a sex change, and forget like what even Bunto said about going to the female prison. Do you think that the government should pay for that?
I think what I've already said precludes that. No, I don't think that anybody should be obligated to pay for anybody's sex change. What justice would be about is about compensating victims, and Chelsea Manning, that was a victimless crime. He or she should not be in jail now. She should be free. I'm glad to call her she. Thank you. I only said he because he was a he when this was going on, but that's fine. But he should not be in jail, and this should not be an issue. He should be free. He's a hero. We should celebrate Chelsea Manning.
I would like to see mandatory sex change in prison, John. I think our recidivism rate would come down.
It would plummet.
Okay, really? I mean, aren't females less, prone to violent? So yeah, if you 3 strikes are out, 4 strikes.
I don't know that that's even true.
Isn't the premise of every women's prison movie about violent females?
I thought it was crazy sex, man. I thought that's what the prison movie.
The line is thin. The line is very, very thin.
Most violent males were raised by females.
Violent females. There you go.
How dare you, Keller?
It's all our fault.
Okay, so Sugar, what do you think? You think we should allow, prisoners to get sex change on the public dole?
No, I mean, if we do that for the sex change, the sexual reassignment surgery, then that means that the any prisoner who feels like they're suffering from body dysmorphia of any kind should be allowed to have any type of modification. I don't think so. You've lost your right.
What's wrong with that? Oh, you lost your right. Okay.
You've lost your rights.
It doesn't work that way. There's a whole process.
How does it work?
Psychiatry is.
I know. I have a niece. I have a niece that's transgender.
Assessment is a huge part of it.
But why are we paying for that? I mean, I think unless. Because
you're the one who's always crying about compassion. And,
Wait.
We should help everybody and help our fellow men.
There's limits. I mean, come on now. I mean, how long is this person? Wait. There's always parameters. How long is this person going to be in prison, incarcerated?
Why does Okay.
Why
Well,
does that matter?
It makes a difference. If they're going to be in for 2 years, then they can wait 2 years until they get out and they can provide that for themselves. If they're going to be in there for life,
oh, I see.
I
It's
don't know.
economic.
Well, what I'd like to say is that, I mean,
Well,
really, you
if
got to
they're in
take
a
the look
federal
at you got to take Club
they're going to
Fed.
be there
Yeah,
that long time.
screw them. Those guys, they get so many privileges. Come on now. Federal prisons are. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
Hey,
Well, you got to do something pretty bad to be in a federal prison.
Yeah, Michael Milken. Yeah. What's her name?
Madoff.
Right. Yeah. And what's what's her name? I can't remember her name now.
Martha Stewart.
Yes, Martha Stewart. That's what I'm thinking of.
Madoff was a creep, but Milken was actually creating value for people. And
ripping people off.
The Wild
Potato, potato.
West wasn't as wild as you guys think.
it wasn't.
Okay, he was that.
Read the Not So Wild Wild West. Great book. The Wild Wild West was pretty boring.
Is that the one with Will Smith in it? Wild Wild West?
That was
I think
boring
I saw that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
liked it. Right.
Oh, okay. Well, what's our time status, Sid? Where are we at?
We're approaching. In fact, we've gone over 2 hours already.
There you go.
So we're going to close it down. 2 hours is enough, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good plan.
It's more than I could hang out.
I don't think I'm just a girl.
Put my dress on
You
to
don't
use.
think I'm just a girl? We could always start another one with somebody else.
I'm good for like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
For
let's start another one.
this hangout, the live portion is about to come to an end. So everybody wave goodbye.